All right, hello everybody. Welcome to UK CORRAL. This is a podcast that reviews every single British comic ever written. I'm your co-host Mikaal, and as always, been joined by Adamantium.
Papa Umau Mau.
All right, and of course, Nice Man, wearing his Doctor Strange shirt.
Yeah, I've run out of nice things to say.
Well, I'm
Sorry.
sure you'll have plenty of nice things to say when we talk about Starman today, right?
Maybe.
Maybe. Ooh, keep us in suspense. Okay. So today we are reviewing Starman number 7 to 11. And darned if I can remember, but because my screen is being shared and I don't want to ruin it, but what was the name of the trade this was collected in? Do you remember? It doesn't matter. Okay. It'll be in the post. It'll be in the post.
And
That's
I will
okay.
say also, for anyone who is intrigued about having a physical copy of this to track down on their own, this is also collected in the first volume of the Starman Omnibus series. I believe that was maybe 5 or 6 different omnibuses altogether.
Okay.
So it's collected in there in addition to the various trades that they were produced after the comics saw their retail release.
Excellent. Okay, so yeah, this is readily available. Originally published in May 1995. So here we are, 31 years later, and we're still talking about Starman by James Robinson and Tony Harris. So, Adam, you're going to start us off here with number 7. And I know these issues are hard to summarize as a plot, but do your best, you know?
Well, I shall.
All right.
So I just want to say, with a little context, we open up with a thing I do enjoy about Starman occasionally. And as I said, when we first delved into the comic, it has some ups and downs, some peaks and valleys. And the opening of this issue for me is a peak, because essentially what we have is Jack Knight, who's leaving Opal City because he's going to enter Turk County in order to look for deals for old memorabilia. And I kind of like this. This gets away from the superheroics and it gets away from the fantastical, where he's haggling with people for all sorts of strange memorabilia. You have him looking at people with old ray gun toys, old records, and there's just these great asides that he's making with characters. And he's doing this examination of why he is a collector in the first place. There's a lot of introspection and characterization happening here with Jack's reflections. And there's just some really interesting, almost, Southern Gothic elements too, such as when he's talking to somebody to purchase some glass and he reveals that it was his mom's collection, that she's dead. And he says, and I quote, "May she burn in the darkest pit of Satan's flames," after mentioning that she's dead. So really great dialogue and interesting writing, which again, something I think we'll talk about a lot for Robinson. There's points where the writing is exceptional and parts where it's lacking. But this story then goes forward as Knight is continuing to search around. He's looking for something intangible, not just something old, not just something a bit, as you could say, esoteric. He's looking for something for himself, and he finds that sort of old Americana, that spectacle he's looking for at a fair. He goes to an old-style county fair that happens to be in Turk County. And a lot of this issue is him just exploring around the fair, having memories of attending it with his father and his brother. And he ends up seeing something that's a bit taboo, something that he wanted to see when he was younger, the freak show. And of course, there's a few references he makes internally to the movie Freaks, Todd Browning's classic, but it just is him going through the exhibitions, seeing these people with various deformities, and he comes across a bizarre one, a tent titled The Cosmic Geek. And inside is Starman. Now, there was so many Starmen throughout the run of DC Comics, but this is the alien Starman from, Mike, you can probably correct me, or perhaps Nice Man, I believe the 1970s, was it?
Yeah,
Mid-70s.
He appeared in one comic called First Issue Special. I
First
don't remember
issue
which.
special.
Right, and one story, and thankfully they remembered him when they did Who's Who, and that's probably the only reason that James Robinson even knows who he is. Because that's it. He only had one appearance before this, I believe.
Yeah.
But then an incredible deep cut, something you would almost get from a Grant Morrison reference for that sort of look into the depth of the continuity of DC. So, of course, Jack recognizes something, some sort of communion with this character. What he ends up getting is this language spoken by the blue-skinned man, and I love the way it's rendered on the page. It's elliptic writing. It's something very bizarre.
Right.
And yeah, in the course of speaking with this other Starman, he basically blacks out when the blue-skinned cosmic geek, as he's titled, goes to approach him. He spoke something and said something, almost psychically communicating empathically, and it's projecting so much pain and hurt that really Jack has no means but to run away from the circus, as he has all these memories and odd sort of hallucinations of what the Starman in the tent, the cosmic geek, ended up feeling. And this ends with him just realizing, well, there's something going on with this character, something going on. And to investigate this, he goes to the circus owner, a person named Mr. Bliss. And he's basically trying to figure out how he ended up getting this person, what his actual deal is. And they make some interesting comparisons between the two. Obviously, Jack Knight being a collector of what a lot of people consider junk and old esoterica is very similar to, in his own way, what Mr. Bliss does, where he collects things that would be forgotten or kind of seen as unvaluable in culture, and he brings them for display and gives them value by putting them in a freak show. So there's an interesting correlation happening there. Anyway, in the course of this conversation, what he ends up divulging to Jack Knight is that this person is just someone who's crazy, that really his name is Greg Bailey. He just dyed his skin blue. The alien tongue that he's speaking is just some sort of an act, and that's it. He's not being kept prisoner, which is the sort of dreamscape that Jack was imagining. That was something that was being implied. No, he came here on his own free will. He is just someone who drinks too much, and that's really it. So ultimately, Jack leaves, even though he feels somewhat assuaged by this. He's still a bit uncertain, but regardless, he moves on. And as he leaves through the tent and he goes to exit, he is cornered by the main henchman of Mr. Bliss, a big man called Crusher, who is this big homunculus of a person. And he besets upon Jack, after his investigation, this whole cadre of freaks that he was looking at and oogling at earlier on. Now, Jack Knight, because of his martial arts skills, of course, manages to fight back and escape, tearing through the tent and running away from the freaks that are pursuing him. However, despite all this, and a apparently hyper-aggressive monkey that's also attacking him, which was an interesting touch, I have to say, for the narrative. I'll wait till we get to the monkey section.
Oh, here we go.
Yep, always enjoy an aggressive chimp in a comic. Jack ultimately walks away, thinking to himself, I have to get away, run. I know it's not heroic, but even if I play the hero for Dad, it doesn't mean I've decided I'm one yet. Not really, not in my heart. And there's this doubt about Jack this entire time of if he is going to be Starman or if he's just going to be a collector of memorabilia. And this is reflected through his escape and his need to just rest after the assault in the circus. He ends up returning to Opal City. He rests a little bit while still being assailed by these visions that were given to him by the alien. And he ultimately decides, well, even if I'm not fully a hero, I know this person, this blue-skinned individual, is a prisoner. He needs to be helped. And it's going to be me that's going to help him. And we have a full page spread of him with the Star staff getting ready to enter into the fray.
Yeah, I must say, first of all, because I obviously knew that the Thomas, what is his name? Thomas Mikaal Starman? Or Mikaal Tomas Starman? I knew that he was in this, but I didn't know how he was introduced. And I got to give James Robertson Robinson credit for kind of slowly doling out the revelation of who this is, because even if you're a longtime DC reader, you might not have any clue who the heck this guy is, right? So I think it's pretty cool that he did it this way. I don't know. What did you think, Paul?
Because if you have somebody like a Grant Morrison, and you read a Grant Morrison Flex Mentallo, Grant Morrison Animal Man, there's a certain consistency, a consistency of quality. And like you were saying, Mike, at the beginning of this, I think.
I think it was Adams.
Oh, Adams, I'm sorry. Well, I knew it was one of you. Some parts good, some parts not so good. So I'm constantly baffled. There are parts that I think could probably not have been done better. And there are other parts I thought, no, please, you know. So, first page, very nicely designed by Tony Harris, right? And it's good to see beyond Opal and out into the plains. That's all good. Nobody can complain about this. But then as we get further along into it, you know, it's good that we have our current Starman has this great civilian identity interest in antiques. It is good. But I think James Robinson usually goes too far. And every other sentence, he's throwing in a reference to this, to that, to something else. And after a while, it's like, okay, James, we know you know these cultural references you're making. It's very impressive. You don't have to keep doing it all the time. And then we get a nice little turn with the guy who wishes his mother dead in hell. So that's nicely kind of humorous. And then if we just keep going, let's see what else turns up. Now the circus thing. We all like a circus in comics, right? We like Ringmaster and the Circus of Crime from the 60s Spider-Man stories. Mm-hmm. We like Arcade and the X-Men stuff from late 70s and early 80s. We like that. So I don't have any problem here with the circus and the freaks. And I was very glad to see the 1970s Starman there, and glad that he spoke in an alien language. So that's all good for now. That's all good. He didn't just introduce him with some guy saying, "Hey, I'm Starman, and I hear you've got my name, and I've come to beat you up to reclaim my name." You know, nothing like that. So this is very intriguing. And
as Roy Thomas would have done, right?
Well, actually, I must admit, I really enjoyed the Tony Isabella Luke Cage Power Man.
Okay.
But it was the premise for Power Man versus Power Man, because there was a Power Man created in the 60s in the Avengers.
Oh, yes. Wasn't he the one that became Giant Man or Goliath or something, or no?
No, I forget what it became.
Okay, it doesn't matter.
I almost wanted to say Wonder Man, but I think I would be wrong. And so then you have a Luke Cage Power Man versus the 60s Power Man, and, you know, for the name. And it was just fun. It was just fun. But anyway, here I'm glad that it's been, this 70s Starman has been introduced as an enigma. That's the right way to do it. And the art, I like the art when our current Starman goes through his kind of psychedelic trip. That's all kind of good stuff. So is there anything I don't like in this particular issue? And I would say the Ringmaster perhaps looks a bit too much like a stereotypical Ringmaster, like something from a Disney cartoon, but maybe that was intended. And his name is Bliss, corny as hell. And he's got a big minder named Crusher, corny as hell. Just have them called Joe and Jim. I'm the Ringmaster, and my name is Joe. And this is my associate, Jim. And we'd remember them as Joe and Jim. We don't need Bliss. Oh, how ironic. His name is Bliss. But we know that, of course, he's going to peddle the opposite of Bliss. And Crusher, all right, we've seen one Crusher, we've seen them all. At least give him a name, like I said, like Jim. Okay. But overall, good issue, and I liked it. Like 75%, 25%.
I want to piggyback off of what Nice Man said, because I actually do agree. I gave a bit of praise for this issue right at the very beginning, and I still think it's true. I still think that opening bit is one of my favorite parts of the Starman series so far. I love the civilian element where he's going through, he's trying to find these antiques. But when you incorporate the more stereotypical tropey things of the evil ringmaster, and you have this cadre of freaks that are attacking him, the irony is when it should pick up to be the most exciting with these action sequences, that's when it pulls me out a little bit. And it only pulls me back in the aftermath where he's recovering and he's really contemplating, am I going to be a hero? Do I have it in me to go and save this man that I don't know, that I suspect might be imprisoned or might be this alien, but I'm still not really sure exactly what he is. So, yeah, there's a mixed bag already just in this first issue. I like it overall, but it does have some weak marks, and I do agree. Bliss, what a cliche of a villain. I mean, he really does have the vaudevillian mustache on top of everything else. Like, you can't get more tropey than that.
And maybe they intended it. Maybe they're kind of like poking fun at these stereotypes.
Well,
maybe.
I would say the fact that there is an almost literal creature from the Black Lagoon, and even everything about this circus is a throwback, right? Like the circuses like this don't really exist anymore. The fact that the Starman is chained up to a wall, this is almost like, it feels like we're transported back to like the 1930s or something. So I didn't mind Mr. Bliss and Crusher at all, I think it's, going back to what Grant Morrison always says, is it feels like a fantasy. Like I'm visiting their world, right? I'm visiting Opal City.
Yeah.
I don't want them to, what does he say? I don't want to move them to me. I want to go to them.
Yeah, that's right. Which was his criticism of Alan Moore and why he,
right.
Like he did with All-Star Superman, you're visiting the comic book world. You're not having the comic book world visit you. But since he established a circus, then where is the action and drama going to come from unless he has a circus of freaks? Unless our Starman gets attacked by this circus of freaks, So it's almost like inevitable, isn't it?
It is inevitable. I just wish there was a little bit more, tension built. It would have been more interesting to see some doubt, perhaps, after Bliss was trying to assuage him of this. Rather than that, the freaks attack him because after talking to Bliss, he's divulged his concerns that they're being held against their will, and so automatically we go into a fight. I would have liked to have a little bit more of a mystery in play rather than go right to the fight scene and the punch-up. But regardless, while I'm making a few minor complaints, overall I did enjoy this issue. I think we're going to really see a bit of a mixed bag, however, when we get to the next issue.
I will admit one thing. The fact that I almost completely forgot about the fight scene means that I was far more pulled in by the opening sequence and even the conversation he was having with the antique store dealer. That was more interesting to me. So it's almost like he's writing this personal story and then he gets pulled into the tropes of the genre and then has to have like a fight scene, right?
Yeah.
All right. That being said, who's going to volunteer to do the next issue? Is it going to be Nice Man or me?
I'll try.
Okay.
So once again, I don't like the covers. So let's get that.
I think it's good.
No, I'm sick of all these kind of like painting type covers. Just give something more comic booky. Really, stop trying to be something ultra sophisticated.
Right.
And besides, it just looks ugly and horrific. I would not buy this on the cover alone. The cover alone would turn me off.
Okay.
It just says, "Oh, this is an excuse for horror." No. So
all right, no
thumbs
horror.
down to the covers.
Okay.
So, our hero, with his goggles, and his staff. And I'm sorry, I'm Adam, you know, neither Mike, sorry, speaking for Mike, but neither Mike nor I are as disciplined and good as you when it comes to summarizing. I always like to digress. You know, Mike has short-term memory problems.
This is true.
But so, you know, I begin here on the splash page, and I'm glad it's a splash page. I miss splash pages. And I want to start summarizing. And immediately my head tells me, but you know what? That character, I don't get the character, Starman. I don't get him. He's got this staff, right? Like something he borrowed from Aquaman. And if he gets knocked out of his hands, he's toast. I mean, what is he without this staff? And
But can I counter that?
Yeah, of course.
Well, I mean, I just heard a friend of mine say the same thing about Iron Man or Green Lantern, but that's the nature of a certain type of superhero. There's a certain subgenre of superheroes that have a tool or a weapon, and that's their only power. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, I'll tell you what's wrong with it.
Oh,
because
okay.
because Green Lantern has a ring that is going to be very hard to dislodge from his finger. Very hard. So you can accept that. It's almost like part of his body. You have Thor. He has a hammer. Sometimes the hammer is away from him, but he's still a god. And who was the other one you mentioned?
Who did I say? Green Lantern, Starman, and Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man has 1,000,001 gadgets and backups. 1,000,001.
Sure, but if he's carrying his armor in his briefcase and his briefcase gets stolen, he can't be Iron Man. He's useless.
Yeah, but I mean, this is not an every issue thing where he's carrying his armor in a briefcase. But this guy, he loses his staff, he's toast. And it's a very unwieldy staff. It's not like a hammer you can wrap around your wrist. It's not like a ring you slot on your finger. He has to carry it in one or two hands. I mean, this doesn't make sense to me. You know, it makes marginally more sense than Superman being able to fly. But that's about it. Anyway, our hero returns to the scene of the circus crime with his staff in hand, and he soon finds that he is again apparently assaulted by a freak or the freaks. But then he makes an amazing discovery. The freaks secretly tell him, away from prying eyes, that they didn't want to hurt him, that they had no choice, that they are being manipulated by the nasty Mr. Bliss. So, you know, that's a kind of nice touch, I suppose. The freaks don't really want to hurt him. They're the ones being manipulated. So at least we got past them just being, you know, like a new kind of brotherhood of evil mutants or something. Okay. So what's the story with Bliss then? As we go on, they explain that what does Bliss do? He sucks their power. Not their, what does he do? Doesn't suck. Yeah, he sucks their energy. And immediately I'm like, no. This is such a cliche. Such a cliche. Please. It's been done to death. The baddie, alien baddie no less, not a regular Earthman, an alien baddie who sucks the energy. I thought, no, come, you can do better than this. There has to be something more than this. We've seen it a million times. Now, he could say, and DC at the time could say, but, you know, you're an old fart. You read comics like from the 70s and even reprints from the 60s. We have new readers who are not, you know, like jaded like you with this. This is completely new to them. So, you know, I can stuff it. And I would understand that. I would understand it. But for me, this is old hat. An alien who sucks the energy. And because he sucks their energy, he's able to manipulate them because they don't want too much energy to be sucked out of them. So once that's established,
I'm just going to put a quick pin in that.
Please.
I'm going to say it's even worse for Nice Man because it's not an alien. Mr. Bliss is a demon.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Why did I think he was an alien?
Probably because Starman's an alien. I don't know.
He probably sucked my energy, drained my energy as I was reading it, and I couldn't think straight. Yeah, a demon. All these damn British guys and their demons. They're obsessed with horror and demons. Can they just give it a rest? Then again, Mark DeMatteis is American, I think. Is American or Canadian?
Yeah, American. Yeah.
And yeah, he's obsessed with demons. Okay, so on we go. Can we go on? Okay. And what do we learn about this is Bliss's background, right?
Yeah.
And he's
Right?
been around
No.
a while. This is him, right? In the Old West.
Adam would know.
Adam, this is him in the Old West, isn't it? This is Bliss.
Is it, or is this one of the Cop brothers?
Yeah, no, this is a completely, this is an interlude, nothing to do with Bliss.
Oh, it's an interlude. He looks like Bliss.
Well, and this is the difficult thing when you make somebody with, you know, a marcation of distinction in a comic, and it's a mustache. Any other character with a mustache interchanges. But this is one of the Cop brothers that we had seen throughout the series of Starman, and this is just kind of going through the background. He's almost having these visions of past lives of other people who were lawgivers and were correctors of wrong, and he's having these sort of visions in this way. And this is going to be kind of a recurring interlude that's going to happen. I forget if it's throughout this issue or throughout the rest of the run for this particular story arc, but regardless, yeah, it's not Bliss, it's somebody else.
Yeah, so you see, once again, I failed at my simple job of summarizing an issue because this is an interlude. This is not Bliss.
Right.
As you said. All right.
And I failed to mention this is Matthew O'Dare. That's the name of the police family in the series, the O'Dares.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So, you know, I haven't really cared about these cops before, so maybe this is why. But I appreciate an interlude. That's fine. I don't mind an interlude and subplots. All right. So anyway, he's having like visions of Old West, and now we have a second interlude.
Second interlude, yes.
And this one features, oh, I know that. See, this is very intriguing. It's within Opal. There's a poster, and this winged creature on the poster suddenly kind of comes to life from the poster, grabs an unsuspecting victim, and drags him back into the poster to vanish while the poster remains. And this is, of course, very Grant Morrison-ish.
Yes.
Because it reminds me of Doom Patrol and the painting that ate Paris.
100%, yep.
So I don't mind it. I mean, that's fine. It's not that common. So yeah, it adds to the intrigue. That's okay. It adds to the intrigue. And then back to our hero. And what's he trying to do? He's hunting for Bliss, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still not sure that I like Tony. I like Tony Harris's art, and then I don't like it. It's very strange. There are some panels, some pages I think, yeah, that's really good. And then there are other pages and panels, and I just think, nah, it's just kind of ugly. I don't really like it. Anyway, he confronts Bliss. He confronts Bliss, and, you know, Bliss is the usual smirking villain. And that's it. They start engaging now. We know what's going to come, don't we? Don't we? Like, oh, the demon is revealed. Oh, that nasty demon. And he starts attacking our hero. He looks pretty ferocious. But then, you know, another classic cliche. Can you have a classic cliche, or can cliches only be cliches?
I don't know.
Well,
Have a double negative, but yeah.
So our Starman zaps him with his staff. But of course, it's an energy bolt. And of course, he feeds on the energy. So dumb move by our Starman, because all it does is help him. But the circus people see the battle raging, And then we cut back to the 70s Starman, who's wearing a pendant, and there's a flicker of life in the pendant. So this is also nicely intriguing. You know, we've got to hand it to James Robinson. He knows how to insert intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you know,
All right.
the fight continues. The pendant glows some more. It's a big fight. Which way is it going to go? Then Crusher comes in, but Starman zaps him, and Crusher cannot resist the blast from the staff, not the way that Bliss can. But now 70 Starman is beginning to make his appearance. He is free. Obviously, who freed him from the chains? Did he do it, or they did it? The freaks did it. We don't remember, do we?
Basically, it was the freaks is the implication. I do want to say, like, the thing that we kind of skipped over is that the main person who's being drained of energy is the Starman, Mikaal Tomas. So he's actually being drained of energy, which is why he's lethargic, phlegmatic, why he can't speak, why he's essentially mute. So the idea is you don't even need to keep him in chains because he's so disaffected. He basically would be stationary anyway. So this is stirring something in him.
Yeah,
Just
and Bliss,
throwing that out
Bliss
there,
is otherwise occupied. So then his power, whatever it is, has returned enough for him to be able to fly up into the air, right? Quite how he flies, I don't know. Maybe it's the pendant, but he's up in the air. And then he inserts himself into the battle, and the two Starmen are fighting now against Bliss.
They combine their powers.
Of course. This is, you know, doesn't it make you think of certain past stories? X-Men
sure.
65 with Neil Adams.
Not necessarily, yeah.
X-Men with Sauron, and so on. And the two Starmen combine, and they defeat the dastardly Bliss. And then they kind of communicate, but 70 Starman still speaks in an alien voice. But the freaks celebrate because now they're free of Bliss. They're free. But free to go where and do what? I mean, you know, what are you going to do? Turn up for work and you've got tentacles? This is a bit of a
Well, it works for the Republican Party, so.
I will say.
Sorry to get political.
Yeah, again, to put this in context, it's not as good as a top tier Vertigo comic, but it's better than the superhero comics being published in 1994, right?
I guess so, but I think sometimes the 90s gets a bit of a bad reputation because there are some things in the 90s that were
there's
good.
plenty. I'm just saying the typical DC or Marvel superhero comic was not great.
No.
Rare exception. So this is still one of the best 90s superhero comics. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all celebrating they're free until they realize there's nowhere for them to go.
Right. So, I guess my summary of this issue is that what I just said is it's not like top tier Vertigo, but I still enjoy it. And I like how James Robertson has figured out a way to incorporate continuity because we've probably talked about this in our last Starman review. I really don't like reboots at all.
Right.
I don't like wiping out 50 years of continuity to start fresh and then continue to reboot every 5-10 years. I like this. And not to say that I necessarily like superheroes aging because I don't, but at least they're incorporating the Mikaal Tomas Starman. There's callbacks to old Starman villains. You know, I like that. So he's doing something different. Even though it still has these superhero cliches, he's doing something different.
Overall, it's got more thumbs up than thumbs down.
Right.
I mean, at the very least, if I had bought it when it came out, at least I would have continued with it probably because I want to see how things go with this 70s Starman. And then, of course, at some point, I'm looking forward to seeing the 80s Starman by Steve Ditko.
Right. And then as far as you mentioned Tony Harris's art, yeah, he's not my favorite artist. I just think he's like a fairly good artist with a really strong sense of design, and he's got a unique style. So I think he's perfect for this book, you know?
You know, I agree with you, Mike. I mean, regardless of the technical abilities that some people might see are lacking in particular panels, definitely not in cityscapes, because Tony Harris can do those in spades. But I think he's so distinctive in style that it makes up for any other shortcomings. Like, I can look at this art, and it's very rare, and this is something Nice Man says a lot. You look at this art, and it could be any half dozen of artists or someone emulating another artist. But Tony Harris, I recognize the style. So I'm going to say, at the very least, one of the strongest things I can say is it's recognizable. And this is just more for my own aesthetics, but I like it. I actually like the amount of detail. Sometimes, yes, panels can look ugly, but I think almost purposely so. There's a sort of gnarled aspect to a lot of his art for figures that contrast to the clean lines of buildings and environments. And I like that sort of contrast in Harris's art. Now, in terms of the narrative itself, I don't care for Bliss being a demon. To me, it's just a little bit of the supernatural thrown in here that we're already dealing with aliens and freaks. I don't think adding another layer on top of that necessarily makes it more palatable. I would have preferred him simply just being a corrupt circus owner who maybe just drugged Mikaal Tomas and just kind of kept him under wraps that way, and Starman freed him without some big punch up. Maybe the adversary would have ended up being the Crusher or some other group of freaks that somehow this circus ringleader was manipulating to attack people. But regardless, while there's some cliches and tropes with him being a demon and an energy vampire, I did, in the end, really enjoy this glimmer of recognition in Thomas, seeing what was happening in this battle and joining in. Was it a bit cliched in that regard? Yes, but can I deny it stirred a bit of an emotion in me and a reaction to see this person suppressed and kept in chains so long come back up to fight his oppressor? I can't deny that. So I did appreciate that aspect of the story, even if I do think this is one of the weakest issues of Starman we've read so far.
Any closing comments, Nice Man?
I think on with the third issue. It's all yours, Mike.
All right, let's see if I can do this. Okay, folks, hold on. Where did it go? Oh, what happened?
We've already gone back to the previous issue.
Yeah.
We're off to a great start.
Yeah, exactly. I'm on the wrong issue here. Hold on.
Mike is subconsciously going in reverse.
Yes, okay. Here we go. Let's see if I can remember what happened in this one, even though I just read it yesterday. Okay. So now Starman, our Starman, is hanging out with the old Starman and all the freaks. And I already forgot everything that happened. Okay, so... Oh, yes. So, yeah, I did forget what happened. Does he go back to Opal City? And he's just fighting... Oh, yeah, he's just fighting crime, right? Doing his thing?
Yep.
And we got to... Oh, okay, so now he's reunited with his father, right? Hanging out with his father. And he's kind of just, you know, talking shop with him. And again, this is something you don't see in every superhero comic. The relationship of a son that's become a superhero with a father that's a superhero. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What? Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, and this is where they talk about the shirt that he's wearing, right?
Yeah, the father doesn't like it.
Yeah, he doesn't like it because oh, where does he? Is this where he mentions it, or is it later? Yes.
No, this
okay.
is where he mentions it. It's the image of Ragdoll, who is a villain that the original Starman fought back in his time.
Right, and he mentions that when people see this shirt, they think it's Raggedy Ann or the Scarecrow from the Oz books.
Yeah.
But what it, like you just said, it's actually not. It's the Ragdoll, one of Starman's old villains from the Golden Age. Oh my gosh, there's a lot to summarize here, folks. Let's see if I can do it. Where's the visual storytelling? It's all text.
Well, you know, it's a nice human touch that current Starman is so human that it doesn't occur to him that this could trigger his father. If he knows anything about his father and what his father had to face, then he wouldn't do it. But far too often the super dupers are just too good. They're too perfect, and so I think that was a good touch. Meanwhile, Daddy is trying to work some things out with his calculations.
Yes.
What I don't remember.
So sorry, this has come back to me now. So what we find out is that Jay, so the Flash, Alan, that's not Barry Allen, that's
Alan Scott.
Alan Scott, which is Green Lantern.
Alan Scott is Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Jay Garrick is the
Is
Flash.
the Flash. Okay. And they search for. He's talking about a case where they're tangling with the ragdoll, and when they found him, the ragdoll threatened to kill Starman when he was a kid and his brother, and so they decided to kill him. We killed him in the end. That's what it boils down to, and he's lived with the shame ever since then. So that's why he doesn't like seeing the T-shirt. And then what happens next?
Good question.
Oh, yeah. So then he says, if someone threatened you, I would break my promise of not killing in a heartbeat. So that's the difference between this Starman and his father, right?
Oh, the son said that he would kill, or the father said he would
Yeah,
kill?
the son said. He said, if someone threatened you, I'd break my promise in an Opal City heartbeat.
Yeah.
So
Good.
So I guess they both are the same. So he would kill
characterization.
too, and he wouldn't feel guilty about it. That's the difference. Okay. So then we cut over to this interlude, and we're back to the poster or painting that's eating people. Now it's eating a cop, right?
Yeah.
We cut away, and then we get this is another interlude. Oh, who is this now?
This is the figure who's putting up the posters. He's now taking it down.
Oh, yes. Okay, right. Okay, then we cut over to the Shade, who is, he is kind of, is he investigating the poster?
Yes.
Yeah, look at that. I could follow visual storytelling. Good.
You're doing very good.
Yeah, thanks. It's like I might as well not even read it. I might as well just read it as I'm doing the review, right? But anyway, so then we cut over. So now Starman's at a swap meet, and then we cut away. And now we cut over to, who's this now?
This is that cop, Matthew O'Dare.
Right. And he's getting rough with somebody that owes him a payment.
I just want to say, did you notice the side of the car? It's such a bad joke, but, my love of dad jokes can't help but grin that he's having him against a car and it says Jesus Chrysler.
Gotcha. Didn't notice that.
That's a good joke.
That's okay.
So
I don't remember. Oh, yeah. What happens here?
This cop, is he one of the brothers?
Yeah.
And we don't like these cops, do we?
Well, they're crooked cops, right?
Well,
they're good characters,
necessarily. Though. I think the cops are meant to be liked or at least intriguing to the audience. Whether or not we personally do, that's up to us. But he is seen on one hand roughing up people, and this hand, a panel particularly having dinner with what appears to be some sort of mafioso, as he's having these flashbacks of almost past lives or other O'Dares or people of this lineage who are protectors of people around Opal City. So we're seeing a contrast and him kind of failing at it. The scene where he's drinking in his car, almost like he's trying to assuage the guilt he feels over this corruption that's overcoming him.
Don't remember any of this. Anyway, okay, so then and then we're touching base with Nash, right? She was in the first volume, right?
Yeah. Who the hell is she?
She's the daughter of I was going to say the Mist.
The Mist.
Yeah.
She's the daughter of the Mist. Remember that villain, the Mist, who looks like the Mist?
Yeah, he looks like Mist. Yeah.
And she's the daughter of.
And then we cut over to these are guards who are guarding the Mist, right? And the Mist breaks out.
No, they're guard. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, but they're guarding the Mist's equipment.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're
No, they're
guarding
guarding the
Nash.
Mist.
I'm wrong.
Nash is
Oh,
in
sorry, so they're
prison.
guarding. Yes, they're guarding Nash. Yes.
And then they go
Nash.
inside her cell when they see she's gone, and there's a lot of graffiti on the walls saying, "Die, Starman, I'll kill Starman," just showing that she somehow managed to escape her confines. No real indication given as to how she was capable of doing it, but the ambiguity showing, oh, she's a lot more capable than readers may have at first thought she was.
So I just did a great job summarizing that issue. I want to say congratulations to myself. But thank you guys. But the one thing I will say,
is it the end?
yeah,
of the
that's
issue?
the end. That's the end.
The
Yeah.
end. And the end page displays what? What's going on here?
Starman's just chilling out.
Oh, okay. He's just chilling out.
So here's the thing: is even though I admit I didn't remember anything about this issue, this reminds me of when we were doing Here Comes the Spider Cast, okay? And we got to Jerry Conway's second run on Spectacular Spider-Man. Everyone's familiar with that, with Sal Buscema.
Mm-hmm.
And he was one of the writers he's one of the only guys I know where he would have like the main story going, and it's one thing to like cut over to see what Mary Jane's doing or what J. Jonah Jameson's doing, but he would have these interludes where it's like all of a sudden they're in South America, and they introduce some plot, and then you find out it's La Tarantula, and then one second. And then they cut over to another interlude, and it would introduce Gloria Grant's new boyfriend. And it feels like this whole issue is just interludes, which is totally fine. But it does make for a strange issue because how do there's not much forward momentum in the main plot, which I don't think is bad. There's a little bit. I guess it's just a question mark because I'm the one here kind of defending Starman more than Nice Man is, and there's nothing wrong with this issue, but maybe that is a bit of a weakness to have so many subplots going on if they don't connect together better to make a coherent theme or plot.
So
maybe I'm wrong.
What do I
go ahead, Nice Man.
What do I ask every podcast? I ask the same thing. What would Jim Shooter say?
Okay, but do you actually? Is that also what you would say? Like, do you live by that credo?
No. I think as long as something works, it can be anything. I don't care what it is. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And that's it. So here, as you're saying, there's nothing wrong in and of itself for having so many interludes, so many subplots. But you do have to make sure they cohere enough. There has to be a central core so that the readers can hold on to this and not just kind of get lost in things. And I think that Jim Shooter might say to James Robinson, well, but I have a problem here. I'm not saying you should make it dumb, but at the same time, I think this is a bit tough for our readers to follow. I don't like comics to be dumbed down. I don't like to be spoken down to, and in fictional such as comics. But you do have to appreciate that you're writing this for your reader, right? So your reader really does have to have something to hold on to. And I'm not sure the central core is strong enough.
And I'll say this before you retort, Adamantium. Yeah, it's a fine line between, like, if this was a movie or a TV show, it's not like I want network notes or producer feedback to dilute down what he's trying to do. But there is such a thing, like you're saying, Nice Man, of like, okay, well, these are all great ideas, but how do you make this issue more coherent or more concise or whatever, however you want to do that? And I don't know what that answer is, but I think that's what a strong editor could do for this. And
Archie Goodwin was the editor on this run.
And he's known as a good editor, so maybe he did, and we just don't know. I don't know.
The two bad things are that, one, I think he was nearing the end of his life. Two, when he was editor-in-chief at Marvel, apparently he didn't enjoy doing that. It's not it's not his calling.
Okay, and Adamantium, what do you think?
I'm going to echo a lot of sentiments already said about this. I feel there's no good through line in this particular issue. The most intriguing thing for me was the exchange between Jack and Ted Knight. It's that whole notion of how Starman, the new Starman, is oblivious to things that could be triggering to his father, such as this how should I say, this unrevealed dark side of something that Ted Knight did, which he regrets. I think that's great characterization. And I think if that was fleshed out and that conversation was broadened for the entire issue, and there was more exchanges where maybe there's almost a debate where maybe Jack goes, well, what you did, was it really all that bad? I mean, you could have like saved the lives of your friends and maybe your family. Like that would have been interesting. And then pepper in that a few of these points, these interludes, but instead we have a condensed area where that exchange takes place just for a few pages. And then let's count what else we have. Beyond that exchange, we also have the denouement of what happens after the circus caper. We have Nash escaping prison. We have the poster Soul Snatcher situation. We have the thing with the O'Dares. And then we even have a brief thing about how Mikaal Tomas is going to be kept around Opal City, along with this fight sequence that happens at the beginning, which at the very least, I think bleeds more into the exchange that Jack's going to have with his father. But I think it's too much. I don't think it sets up too much, which isn't going to be resolved. And I know this from reading ahead in this comic quite a bit, by the next couple arcs. So I think it would have been smarter and more efficient to have exhumed some of the elements you want to pepper in, maybe the poster, soul-snatching individual, maybe even Nash's prison escape for subsequent issues. Instead, it makes it feel a little bit muddled and unfocused. And if I was to condense this issue into a single description for people, it would be Jack has a conversation with his father where his father reveals something he did as a superhero that he regrets. And the majority of the issue doesn't even tackle that plot thread. So I think there's an inefficiency of narrative tackled in this one.
Right, I agree. And yeah, I don't think it's bad. I just think it needed a rewrite. So that being said, we can jump to the next issue if you guys want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like me to tackle this one?
Sure, yep.
We would love
10. It. Yep.
Okay, so this is interesting because this introduces a character that a lot of people may not suspect would be in Starman, and that's Solomon Grundy.
Great cover, by the way, anyway.
I
do agree.
Yes. You see, because that cover kind of relates to the inside. And you could say the other ones do too, but this is more on point.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Now, in this issue, it opens up with Shade the Changing Man in the apartment of Jack, and they have a back and forth. So there's some interesting dialogue that's happening, and I do quite like the writing of the dialogue here. But essentially what's being revealed by Shade is that there is another figure that's coming to Opal City that's going to act as a threat. And he alludes to different things, such as, the fact that this is kind of the basis of a story written by Oscar Wilde. And in some of these subsequent issues we'll be reading, we'll see how that comes to the forefront. But ultimately, Jack is just confused. How can this be? You're talking about people living forever. You're talking about, in this case, someone who's stealing souls using spells and posters. And this is just a story, isn't it? And an odd perspective for someone to take from an individual who apparently just within the span of a few days fought a demon. But regardless, that's where we're at. Anyway, the conversation wraps up. And ultimately, what's going to happen is that there is a warning. The warning that this enemy is coming, and basically Opal City is going to need a hero. And essentially Shade is trying to shape up Jack to be that hero. So a little bit of change of pace where Shade is being an anti-hero in this regard because he has an affinity, maybe you could even say a love, for Opal City. So after this exchange, Shade disappears, and then we cut to some vignettes where Mikaal and Ted are just sitting together within Ted Knight's laboratory. He's making notes about how there seems to be no progression for Mikaal Tomas and his ability to speak, although he does randomly spout out Teddy Pendergrass. And
yeah, you see, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. But here we have this great scene, right? The 70s alien Starman, current Starman's father doing his best to go decipher what the language may be. He's getting nowhere, absolutely nowhere. He's about to give up. Finally, 70s Starman speaks. Okay, let him speak. Let him say hello or something. No, he has to say Teddy Pendergrass. So we can say, oh, James, you're so clever. Oh, yeah, look, he doesn't just say hello. He says Teddy Pendergrass. And of course, some readers would say Teddy who? But James knows who Teddy Pendergrass is. Therefore, he must be clever.
Well, I'm going to be the one who says who. Who is he?
What do you mean, who is he?
He's a singer.
I don't know. I've never heard of him.
You don't know who Teddy Pendergrass is?
Never heard of him. No.
Me and James, we know.
Okay.
These are real ones.
Do you know this?
I will say to your argument, I laughed at it. So, take that for what you will.
Do you know, like, seriously, do you know the song, If You Don't Know Me By Now?
Yeah, of course. Yep.
That's Teddy Pendergrass.
Okay, so he did the original because I first heard the Simply Red version. And then I found out years later that it was a remake. Years later.
Yes, because and he did it under Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes.
Okay.
Beautiful song, great voice.
Great song. Yep.
He was greatly admired,
I would argue still in his own way. Especially by me, who got a chuckle out of this issue. But
sorry, Adam. Go on.
Oh, it's fine, because then we go to some serious business as we enter to Nash, and she's going to an office for Willow the Wisp. And essentially, what she's doing through her narrative is she's just deciding to herself what she needs to do to best this enemy, to best Starman, and that's to become more like her father. So she's going to go through the process of how her father achieved his fantastic powers herself. And that cuts to one of my least favorite components of this entire comic book.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Will o' the Wisp, isn't this an actual character?
Well, Will o' the Wisp is a Marvel superhero / villain, but Will o' the Wisp, I assume, is a real term from mythology or something, right?
So it's not a DC character's office.
I'm not sure, to be honest. So if that is a reference, that's lost on me.
Okay. Sorry. Again.
Oh, it's fine. Because, as I said, we're getting into one of my least favorite elements of this story, which is the character Charity. She runs that sort of weird, almost magical shop that Jack entered into all the way back in, I think it was issue 1 or 2. And we haven't seen hide nor hair of her since, so obviously that's how important she is to the narrative. They're just discussing matters, including what this threat possibly could be, the threat aforementioned by Shade the Changing Man. And while there's a little bit of an inclination that the two might be having a bit of a flirtation, in comes Sadie, who is potentially the love interest for Charity. It's not exactly written out loud that that's the case, but that's kind of the implication. Don't expect a lot from these characters going forward. Just a little bit of a spoiler there.
Okay.
So after this exchange, we cut back to Jack. He's just by himself. He's eating food by himself, and he's getting a phone call. He answers it, and the phone call is by someone who's trying to give some information to him. And what is the information exactly? Well, that you might know me by my superhero name. You should come here. I'm Jade. Now, do any of you know who Jade is?
No.
Jade, yes, from Infinity Incorporated.
Yes.
So she's the daughter of Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and the sister of Obsidian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's,
Paul, I'm surprised. I'm disappointed in you, Paul.
I know about Teddy Pendergast, but I know nothing about Jane
Yeah.
and the Infinity Watch.
She was-
Exactly.
And here's a deep cut. She was also one of the characters, I believe. Oh no, I'm thinking of Fire from the made-for-TV Justice League movie.
Yeah, that was
Interchangeable
who was
characters.
formerly Green Flame.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, the news that Jade is sharing is that Solomon Grundy is in the sewer systems of Opal City. And because of some recent trauma he's been through, she would like Jack Knight to help him find him, and then be able to get him out of the sewer system. So he goes down there on her behest, and of course encounters Solomon Grundy in this wonderful splash page. I actually do quite like this one, with this imposing zombie-like image of Grundy going over on Starman, punching him, so that his rod, as per a comment made earlier by Nice Man, is displaced somewhere within the sewer water. Gross, may I add. And
Yeah.
Jack has to karate kick to try to get out of the way of Grundy, but all he can do is evade his punches, grab his rod, and ultimately best him with a blast to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all he has all the time, a blast to the chest. And it's a literal splash page, right? Splash of sewage.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, normally I would dislike this sort of action sequence, and yet I love what happens in the next page. Solomon Grundy is disaffected, essentially, but he looks down at his chest and goes, ow, and like a hurt child looks with these big doe eyes and goes, you hurt me. Why you hurt me? And that's when Jack just kind of brusquely says, well, sorry, you started throwing me around like a puppet. Maybe that was why. And Grundy and him just kind of talk it out a little bit. Grundy mentioning he's tired and he needs to rest. And Jack grabs him by the hand, like, again, a sad child, and takes him back out of the sewer, retrieving him. And I thought it was a very strangely tender moment that cuts through some of the cynicism that we often see in Jack Knight's character.
Yeah.
So that would be
Agreed.
a lovely sequence to end on, but that's not actually how the issue ends, because then we see the next sequence where Nash has come through the process successfully like her father. She has managed to receive the same powers he has. And after the splash page where we're seeing kind of, I guess you could say, almost a cascade of all the major players that are about to come forward in this upcoming run of this arc, what we ultimately have is the final one where Nash has been fully transformed into the new Mist, ready to kill Jack.
Nice.
What did you think about his motivation for going into the sewer? I mean, you're going to go into the sewer and splash around in the sewer, possibly at risk to your life, because after all, Solomon Grundy can pummel you into nothing. So what did you think of his motivation for going?
Loved it.
I did too.
Yep.
Are you surprised? I did too.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised. Yeah.
Well, why do we like it?
Because he's a dingus who did this because of a pretty face asking him, showing a flawed character, showing an imperfect hero, which is exactly what I want to see from a story like this. And it's also vaguely relatable for anyone who's been a dorky guy who's maybe done something for a pretty girl who batted her eyes at you. I think it is very human, and I like that. And it's also taking the piss out of a lot of comic conventions that happen where the hero is doing this selflessly. He's doing it somewhat selfishly.
Right. I think, as you say, I mean, for most kids, boys, it can be relatable that when you were in school, maybe there was a particular girl that you liked, and then she might ask you to do something and you do it. Simply because she asked. And then at that moment, she realizes she has a superpower. Her superpower is the ability to manipulate gullible males. So, that was a good touch.
And this is one way I really like superhero comics is when they exaggerate real psychological motivations. Like that's why I think, for example, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was so good. Is because even though they were dealing with vampires, vampires, werewolves, robots, demons, everything felt psychologically motivated and logical. And that's how I think you do a fantasy, just like this, because people can universally relate to his motivation.
Yes.
Anyway, that's what I think.
Mm-hmm. Good issue.
Yeah, I like it. I agree. And again, more on like bringing back Solomon Grundy. I love these characters. I mean, there's a reason, like, I'm really looking forward to eventually getting to JSA because I love all these characters. I love them, you know?
And I just want to throw in one more thing quickly. I'm sorry, guys. Sure. Unlike the previous issue where it felt like so much was crammed in to the point where you couldn't keep track of it, the thread was very clean. We had the introduction with Shade. We had the fallout with the call with Jade. We had the pursuit into the sewer, and we had Nash also gaining her powers. A lot of stuff is happening in this issue, but it doesn't seem as frenetic. It's like it's paced and it's made in a way where it's very coherent. So I don't know if it was an editorial issue with the last one that we read or something else, but this just reclaimed a good pace for the comic, I feel.
Agree. Okay, how about we jump to the last issue? Oh, nice man, you're gonna like this one.
Oh, well, I did read it.
Well, yeah. Okay.
The cover's pretty good.
Yeah, I actually bought this issue off the stands, and I believe it's just because of all these Golden Age heroes on the cover here.
One of the reasons I didn't, though, is because I've never, ever been interested in Golden Age heroes.
Hello. Okay, well, there you go. Nobody's perfect.
Mike, I think since you are the true Starman of this podcast, would you like to do a little recap of this one for us?
Oh, okay.
You see, Adam's using his mutant power.
Yeah, to hypnotize me.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Oh boy, if I can just remember how we got into this story. See, I'm already forgetting everything.
Well,
okay, so yeah,
it starts with the Shade. Yeah.
Huh? So how about you do the first? Oh, you do the prologue, Adam.
Okay, well, this is all written through the perspective of the Shade. This is the Shade's journals, and this is going to be a recurring thing throughout the series where we get glimpses into the past of Opal City and the past of the Shade. But he's recounting the famed encounter with the ragdoll that was being spoken of earlier in that conversation between Ted and his son. Go ahead.
Okay, so then we jump to this meeting of the Justice Society: Flash, Green Lantern, Starman, Hourman, and Dr. Midnight.
In beautiful artwork, isn't it? That page.
It's I mean,
convening at the table.
I've actually never.
It's again one of those worthy of framing. This is for me, Tony Harris.
Well, it's not Tony Harris.
Best. Oh, it's not Tony Harris.
No, that's what I mean. I've never even heard of this artist. It's Matt Smith.
Well, it's Matt Smith at his finest.
No,
that was right before he became the Doctor. Okay, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, if I can try and remember, then they decide to split up, right? Yes. Oh, geez, if I can remember this. So they decide to split up, and Green, I don't remember what they do. Let's see here. I don't remember.
Okay, well, I'll basically give you a little rundown. So
there you go.
Essentially, what happens is the ragdoll is back, and he's more vicious than ever, pulling the type of crimes and viciousness that they've never encountered before. And he's spreading his minions throughout Opal City. So essentially, yes, the Justice League, or I mean, League, my goodness, Society have to break up and cover ground across the city. So going forward, so we can see just how this is broken up. We have different heroes such as, who's our pill popper here again? What's his name?
This is Dr. Midnight.
Well, this is Dr. Midnight. And Hourman as well. Hourman's another one that I believe is involved in this.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. He's the pill popper. Dr. Midnight, I don't know how he gets his powers.
Yeah, but regardless, yeah, these people are going around with. I'm not doing service to this issue because I think it's really well done, evoking the golden age while just giving a modern sensibility to things with some really good prose through Shade's descriptions about what the heroes are doing, creating some interesting contrast between his writing and what's happening in these panels. But to actually get to the place where Ragdoll himself is, there is after this breakup and this sort of siphoning off of the society into different groups. One of those groups involves Starman, Green Lantern, and the Flash. Now, they're going to find the hideout wherever Ragdoll is. Meanwhile, all the other heroes are fighting the minions throughout the city. Now, within the facility where Ragdoll is supposedly hiding, we see some action sequences where Flash using his speed, Green Lantern using his ring, and Starman using his rod are able to raid back all the minions of Ragdoll and finally capture him and keep him in bounds, which seems like a good thing. However, the Ragdoll looks up and he basically says, it doesn't matter. In the end, you keep trying to do this, but I've learned something in my time in prison. And this is where we get a psychological change, this viciousness that happened to him. Through this very chilling sequence where he looks up like a desiccated clown, he's just divulging into the sort of inhumanity that he's seen and that he's becoming less and less of a human. And ultimately, he says, even when they arrest him, he'll find other ways to escape. He's a contortionist. He can move his body through bars. He'll figure out ways, and he's tapped into something. So why does he have all these minions? We haven't touched upon it yet. These are average citizens of Opal City who he has through a means of manipulation by simply speaking with them like a bad actor or a standard politician is convincing them to follow him, that his ways are right, that chaos and misrule should be followed because all the trappings of civility and order are just pretenses that ultimately don't matter, that only keep you bound. And so for those who feel disenfranchised, who feel aloof of the normal ideals of society, he's attracted, he's hooked into something, and he'll do it again. And when he does, he promises these three heroes by name, by the way. So he actually is revealing he knows their identities, that not only will his minions continue to assail the city, they'll track down their families and kill them as well. And in this bid where he contorts his body to escape from his binds, then we see in the next chaos of the next page, every hero trying to capture him. But ultimately, regardless of what happened, there's an explosion. No one's quite sure who made the killing blow or what happened, but it results with Ragdoll being found dead.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have this very somber image at the end of Ragdoll with his one eye looking out as the three heroes, while victorious, are ultimately defeated. They've violated their moral code, and they've maybe learned something about the darkness of humanity. A counterpoint to the sort of hope that the Golden Age represents, that maybe Ragdoll did touch something disaffected and something true about people that they feel is not being saved by what the heroes represent, that maybe them being the emblems of hope are not the ultimate thing to save people, but there's something they can't save. And I like this. This is a very mature way to deconstruct the type of hope, the iconography of hope that Golden Age heroes represent. And I think it was done in a very mature fashion. Even though it's not Tony Harris as mentioned, I found the artwork and the inking in particular in this issue to be incredible. And I really enjoyed it. I think Starman has some of its best issues when it's not focused on the main title character, when it kind of explores the universe. And this is an example of it. Of all the issues we read today, this is probably my favorite.
Which is kind of a preview of what's to come with JSA, right? His JSA run. I love this issue too because I love Golden Age superheroes, and this is obviously an expansion of the story, foreshadowed in an earlier issue. Mm-hmm. As far as the art, okay, I'm on the fence about this art, and I'll tell you why. Because I would say this particular kind of style was kind of innovated by Mike Mignola. And
Mhm.
Tony Harris kind of follows in that, and this is an extension of that. There's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes I feel like this kind of art leans a little bit too heavy. Like, obviously, like, look at this page. The inking is exquisite. The colors are perfect. The storytelling's perfect. The design of the page is great. But sometimes I just wonder if the anatomy is a little bit lazy, a little bit rushed.
Well,
Could be a,
there's a single panel I think maybe emphasizes that where I think it's either Hourman or Captain Midnight is going to save a child, and the child's proportions don't quite seem childlike. It's just like a squished adult. So I think it's coming up in the next page, perhaps.
is it here? No? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems a bit off. So that's something where I noted the proportions are there. But, there's an interesting background for this. Apparently, Tony Harris was notorious for turning in stuff late. So what would happen is, let's see, Robinson, from what I recall, wrote a number of vignettes or small scripts that would be interlude issues between the main run because he knew he couldn't rely on Harris necessarily getting his art in consistently all the time. So he would then have another artist fill in particular issues. So whenever you have issues with a filler artist, they tend to be these standalone particular issues and storylines. So you'll probably notice that throughout the run.
That's smart. I mean, if you've got an artist that's late like that, this is the smart way to do it, right? But yeah, I do think it is a great story, and I love these characters. So yeah, this is one of my favorite issues for sure. What do you think, Nice Man?
I had problems with the ragdoll character and the ease with which he was able to persuade people to commit dastardly acts. It seemed a bit gratuitous to me. Didn't it seem in any way gratuitous to you, or like it's just serving a function? And I don't think you can just simply do things to serve another function. I don't know. I didn't like the ragdoll guy and the ease with which he was able to persuade others to do dastardly things.
I didn't mind that. I mean, how is it any worse than...
Oh, sorry, Mike, cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, just with so many real world parallels, unfortunately, right now. I mean, I think,
Yep.
unfortunately, it's all too relevant to see someone appeal to the darker side of humanity. And, I think there's an exploration here that's going to go on through the rest of the comic of this exploration of cynicism and darkness. And how do we combat that without getting into naivety? I think that's going to be one of the main themes running throughout Starman. It's honoring a past and a legacy without trying to repeat it necessarily. I think that's maybe a good way to describe the overall comic run. Could it have been developed a little bit more? I think, yeah, we probably could have had another page or two of maybe some of the speeches that the Ragdoll was given to the populace. But with that said, I didn't find it was, I don't know, I wasn't too bothered by it, I'll put it that way.
Well, it's like this. If you do even a little study, and I don't mean you, I mean like people in general, of people who joined ISIS.
Or ICE?
Why did they?
ICE or ISIS? ISIS or ICE?
ISIS.
Oh.
Well, maybe both, I don't know, but we'll focus on ISIS. For people who join ISIS, why did they? And the simple psychological reason is that they're filling a hole. Why does somebody take drugs or become drug addict or alcoholic? They're filling a hole. And so if you're going to have this ragdoll character easily persuade people to go and do dastardly things, then I think we need to spend a little bit of time with those people to see quite why they're so quick to commit these atrocities. Even with Charles Manson and his fairly well-to-do cult members, they came from nice homes. Their parents aren't bad people, but why did they do what they did? Because there's some hole that's being filled. For me, it's maybe this is cheap like psychology, but when somebody is secure, they don't do these things. They're secure. They don't need to do these things. Hitler, of course, was had an extremely big hole to fill. So I don't mean to get grandiose in all these comparisons, but I'm just saying that if you want to have a character manipulate others in a Pied Piper kind of way, at least show me something about why they would. Not just, hey, here I am, let's go.
You see, I would argue, I think it does show it subtly. And the subtlety of it is the heroes. We're kind of looking at a deconstruction, maybe akin to Watchmen, where people are growing insecure about what it means to be a person when you have aliens and gods and magical beings flying around you. When Our Man takes that pill and dispatches a bridge full of goons, I think we contrast the sort of pie-eyed naivety of some of the internal dialogue that's happening that Shade is projecting onto these characters with the notion that, well, what does this mean for the average citizen? And I think without outright saying it, the implication is, and this is going to be explored in later issues, so maybe what I know coming forward is going to color my viewpoint. The implication being, are you responsible for the creation of this insecurity, of this hole that needs to be filled by these people? It's like the question of, does Batman create his own villains by his presence? And I will admit, I think this will be explored a little bit further on in subsequent issues. But I would say, even from rereading it, I think it's subtle, but it is present in here.
Yeah, and also it's only one issue, and there's, like you said, there's no reason they can't expand on this later. But I don't think there's anything wrong with not covering it in a single issue storyline.
And as for the art, it was kind of very stylish, kind of a little bit hit and miss. But that one-page panel where they're standing around the table, I think is beautifully done. And the next page I like. It.
Yeah. And
I don't really like Mike Mignola's art. I don't like that style. And definitely much of this is like Mike Mignola. Right. But, certain pages, certain panels, I really liked.
I do. The one thing I like about this art style is it makes the colors pop, and the colors in this story are great. So I'll definitely, I'll say that. But anyway, I must say, guys, I don't know if you're aware, this episode is number 49 of UK Corral.
The 50th better be damn good.
I don't know. What do you guys think it's going to be? Any guesses?
Absolutely.
Is it going to be Starman again?
Going to be Starman? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's going to be a very big one that I've been building towards for a long time. It's going to be.
Let's guess. It's going to be this one.
Oh. It's going to be For the Man Who Has Everything by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. I am super pumped. We are now going to start finally on Alan Moore's short-ish run of superhero comics at DC. So I'm really pumped for this. So be sure to join us for our next episode, number 50 of UK Corral. I want to thank Nice Man and Adamantium for joining me every episode for the past 49 in a row. Let's hope we can make it to 50. Barring some unforeseen circumstance. And I guess that's it. Until the next time, see you later.